So I'm looking around, I don't see that we have any guests. Even Elena's not here today. Because she's working. We could call Barb and Marty guests, because it's been a while. So Paul is going to give us the Rotary Minute this morning. Sorry to interrupt your breakfast, Paul.
Well, I'll get you a magnet with Barbara.
So I realize that I am running the risk of repeating other Rotary minutes that have been offered in the past. In fact, I know for a fact that the topic I'm touching on briefly has been addressed previously, but I thought it might be worthy of a bit more texture and history, some even personal. So as some of you know, because I've shared this in the past, my father was a Rotarian. And that invited me to attend Rotary meetings from time to time as I was a teenager growing up. This was in Oklahoma. And one of my older sisters would sometimes chastise my father for the chauvinism that she saw evidence in the Rotary Club in those days. In those days, there were not women in Rotary itself. Those women who might want to be members of Rotary had other options, but they could not be members of Rotary. My sister found this appalling, and she did not restrain herself and let my father know of her opinion. Now, when that same sister came to visit me here in Vermont just a few years ago, I mentioned to her that I was a member of Rotary. And once again, those old criticisms of Rotary surfaced. I made certain to share with my sister that there were several very significant women who were playing important roles in the Rotary Club of which I was a member. Fast forward to January of this year. For the second year in a row, I was honored to help plan and participate in the Martin Luther King Day observance that this club sponsored. Of course, Debbie Ingram was a very important part, maybe the lead part. Where is Debbie? No, she's here. Right there. Yeah. There she is. Yes. Sorry, the back of red. Debbie really spearheaded that effort in so many ways. Others of you were very much involved in that program. Subsequent to that Martin Luther King Day celebration, however, some of us received some feedback from at least one source who gave voice to that same outdated observation about Rotary that my sister had shared decades before. Specifically, the view was expressed, and this is almost a direct quote. The view was expressed that Rotary has long been associated with old white men and has not done the necessary work to change the makeup of its organization. And this includes who holds leadership roles. Direct quote almost from January of this year. Now, this kind of criticism is obviously not new, but what is striking to me is that this perception of Rotary leadership that it consists of old white men is so utter. On that day in January of this year, when this criticism was sounded, and still today, the following facts are in evidence. The president of the Williston-Richmond Rotary Club is a woman, Sally Metro. The immediate past president of the Williston-Richmond Rotary Club is a woman, Leslie Murray. The president-elect of the Williston-Richmond Rotary Club is a woman, Susan Cote. And two other elected officers of our club are women, Vice President Elizabeth Davidson and Treasurer Jeannie Albertson. And add all that together, some 70% of the officers of the Williston-Richmond Rotary Club are women. But it does not stop there. The district governor of the Rotary District of which our club is a part is Caroline Earl, a woman. And this Saturday, Caroline Earl will be succeeded as the district governor of Rotary District 7850 by Susan Cherry, a woman. It does not stop there. The president of Rotary International, the highest ranking officer of over 46,000 Rotary clubs around the world, the president of Rotary International for 2023 is Jennifer Jones, who also. So those who cling to the view that the Rotary Club is run by old white men would seem to be way out of touch. Women not only participate in leadership in Rotary, but as we speak in June of 2023, women dominate leadership positions up and down the line in this admirably inclusive organization. And so today we especially celebrate the superb leadership, the outstanding leadership of the women of the Williston-Richmond region.
However,
Thank you, Beth.
I
Couldn't say it better.
right. It was wonderful, but there is still a couple of clubs in the country, in the world, that only have men.
Right, well, pity them. And I gotta see now in 10 years, we're gonna be looking around going,
They're so old.
Chris is going to give us an inspiration today.
Wow.
I guess center ourselves. This is timely, I hope, for everybody. For those who I haven't met, I'm Chris Burns DiBiasio, a new member, a transfer member from Ada, Ohio. In June of 1865, a community of enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, were finally informed that they were in fact free due to the Emancipation Proclamation, which had been signed into law nearly 2 years earlier. The celebration of that historic day has come to be known as Juneteenth and was first celebrated by those formerly enslaved Texans in 1866. Also referred to as Jubilee Day, the holiday is a time of celebration and is recognized with the crowning, in many communities, is recognized with the crowning of Miss Juneteenth, block parties, as well as significant symbolism, including a Juneteenth flag and very unique colors that are associated with it. Just 2 years ago, in 2021, June 19th, it became a federal holiday and has resulted in many Americans learning more about the history of this enslaved people. June 19th is this coming Monday. I was looking in my calendar. My phone has it. My Vermont calendar, which I treasure, does not even have it. I've had Vermont calendars for years, wherever I traveled, and I looked at my Vermont calendar and it's not listed. So we need to change that. So June 19th is coming Monday. In celebration of this important holiday, I'd like to share quotes from 4 Black leaders and icons that touch upon the importance of Juneteenth and how far we've come as Americans and how far we still have to go as the fight for equality continues. First quote is from John Lewis. Ours is not the struggle of one day, 1 week, or 1 year. Ours is not the struggle of one judicial appointment or presidential term. Ours is a struggle of a lifetime, or maybe even many lifetimes. And each one of us in every generation do our part. From Barack Obama, change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. From Chadwick Boseman, the actor. Understanding history is one of many ways to break the cycle. Lift up, amplify Black voices, support Black-owned businesses, reach back, mentor. And finally, from a woman, Maya Angelou, won't it be wonderful when Black history and Native American history and Jewish history and all of history is taught from one book, just U.S. history? Thank you. Thank you, Chris. It has been said that the slave history of this country is the American Holocaust. I can't really disagree with that. Okay, so today's a business meeting. I have several agenda items, and then I'm going to give the committee chair some time. So the board met yesterday, and we made a couple of really important decisions, which you need to know. One is that as of next year, which starts in 2 weeks, dues are going to be $200 this year. $207 if you use a credit card. Um, I need you to understand that this money covers the dues we pay to the district and to RI with a little bit, not a lot, a little bit left over. And the leftover money goes into our expense for Club Runner, which is $600 a year. And that money can, by the way, be deferred if we get 4 businesses to advertise on our website at $125 for the year. And also the extra money will go toward our Zoom account, which is $150 a year. So almost and probably all of the dues you pay will go back into our operating. The other, and one other thing that's important for you to know, we have a line item in our budget called a membership subsidy. So if $200 is a little steep for you, you can speak to me or to Susan, to anyone on the board, which is the officers, and we can supplement what you can pay with a membership subsidy. So $200 need not be too onerous for anyone. The other thing you need to know is that as of July, breakfast is going to cost $15. It's now $13. So bring some cash. We have something we need to vote on. The parade committee has asked for $450 for expenses that they need for signs and banners for our parade. And the board has approved it, but you have to vote on it because it's more than $300. So I would like to entertain a motion to spend, and by the way, we have the money, thanks to the fundraising. I would like a motion to spend.
The fundraising was for charities account.
Yeah,
That comes out of public relations, with the operating budget.
So it's not a
Fundraising.
Right, well-
We have the money because we have the money, not because of the fundraising.
Correct. Right, thanks for correcting me, Charlie. That was, I misspoke. We do have the money, though. So I would like a motion, Sean,
I'll move.
that we spent $450.
I do have a question.
Float committee.
I
Wait.
second.
Got a second. Now you can talk about it, but
Is there anything that they're buying that can be used another year?
Everything.
Everything, thank you. Thank you.
these are pictures of some of the signs that Rotarians will carry alongside the float. They're cool because they talk about some of our projects. So we have a motion moved and seconded to spend the $450. Any other conversation or question? Okay, so everyone in favor?
I
Oh,
just
Leslie?
would like to make a comment. I'd like to thank the parade committee because you have put in a ton of time and effort and thought into creating visuals that we can use for many years that really pump up the club. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
This didn't happen without a lot of thought.
And I think many of you saw the wheel that Sherry has created, which is astonishing.
And on hold, I'm waiting for parts, so hopefully I can get it together by the.
Well, it's still amazing.
So if we're going to have prizes, there will be some way for people to win this.
Oh,
I just don't know if it'll be that.
Yeah.
All good.
So I'm gonna ask for a vote. All in favor of spending $450 for the float committee, please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you, committee.
Thank you, everybody.
So Sally,
Yeah.
whoever is, I either need an invoice to pay for it directly or to be reimbursed whoever pays for it.
Okay. Float committee heard that?
Yeah.
Okay. We are,
Before the end of the month if possible.
anything else, Jeannie? Okay. We are going to need a secretary in 2024. And the secretary job is a lot of fun. You get to know a lot about the club. But because it's somewhat complicated, we need to have someone step up before 2024 and to work with Bill. So I'm bringing it out, putting it out there. If anybody thinks they're interested or they're curious about it, please speak to me or to Phil or to Susan. because we'd like to get somebody working with Bill before his tenure is up.
I thought you were a fixture. I thought you were permanent. Everything else rotated, but not.
Well, Bill has moved very kindly from treasurer to secretary.
Right.
He was pretty much a fixture for the treasurer
Yeah,
a long time.
Right.
Thank you for your service.
yeah, yeah. And now that we've brought up, mentioned treasurer, although Jeannie can be convinced to stay as treasurer, her tenure is up next year as well. So if anybody would like to consider being treasurer, please speak to Jeannie. Okay, let's talk briefly about changeover. Changeover is going to be very busy. We have a lot to do at changeover. And the total time is listed as 6 to 8 p.m. We need somebody to come and just, I'm not gonna write your names down, but raise your hand if you can come around 5 to help set up. Thank you. I would like everybody to try to come before 6 to start socializing, because dinner's gonna be at 6. And I'm hoping, Martin, you're gonna be able to get the musicians to pivot.
It should be all right.
Okay.
I haven't heard from everyone.
Okay. And then we'll need people to help break down at 8 o'clock. There's usually enough people left over at that point. To do some breaking down. And although I said BYOB, that seems a sort of outdated term. It's just easy to say it. But bring what you would like to have to drink. Water, soda, booze, whatever.
With bottled water, it's become current again.
Yeah, oh, right, bring your own bottled water, right. We're going to be busy because we have business to do. This is our annual meeting. So we're gonna have to vote for the slate of officers for next year, which I'm sure you're gonna unanimously vote for. And the treasurer's gonna give us a brief treasurer's report on the budgets. Also, we have awards. We're going to give heating assistants their money. And I'm very excited that the scholarship recipient is coming with her parents. And she's gonna speak with us briefly. So we're gonna give her her check. There's gonna be some gifts. There's gonna be a word from the president-elect. And then we're gonna have music from 7 to 8. And it's going to be very special because we not only have our favorite piano player, but Greg Marino's bringing his trumpet. And they have rounded up a couple of other people.
Couple of ringers.
And we still need to find someone to drive the bassist, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it?
Actually,
Oh, good. Okay, all right. So any questions about changeover, anything I forgot to say? I don't think so. Okay, one quick question. Is anyone within hearing distance, the person responsible for getting Champlain Periodontics donation? It might be Howard. Yeah, might be Howard. Anyway, so check with him. And now we're gonna have committee reports. So we'll start with the Public Relations Committee. Susan?
Bill wanted to say something.
Oh, Bill.
I just want to make sure everybody knows I have some thank you cards. If you are connected with someone who donated and you would like to send a thank you card, I'd be happy to give you some copies of the thank you cards for you to use to say thank you to those who have donated. Please come and get as many as you need.
Great, thanks. And before I forget, we do have one guest who's on Zoom, Dan Ferris. Hi, Dan. Good to see you. He's still a guest. He won't be much longer, but I didn't want to leave him out. Okay, PR committee.
Good morning. I'm not gonna do a full report because I think you're up to speed on the things you've been doing, but I do want to put out a call for volunteers. And I know there'll be other calls for volunteers as this meeting goes on, but on July 4th, the day of the parade, we're also gonna have a booth on the village green. And the booth needs to be set up by 9:30. And it needs to be in place until about 1. So I think it'd be helpful to have 4 to 6 volunteers, and we'd welcome anyone who wants to spend a little bit of time or a lot of time at the booth. But if you could come to me afterwards, about helping out with that, or maybe I should just ask for a ring.
I have if you want to do a show of hands, I have a sign up for both the parade and for the booth. So if people raise their hands now, I can write them down, or this will also circulate and you can write down that you want to do the booth.
Yeah, we can do it in shifts if you want to kind of do 9 to 11, 11 to 1, something like that. Because I don't expect everyone's gonna want to spend 4 hours at the booth. That's a long time, but yes. See Andy and his sheet. We're planning some sort of little giveaways and ways to get people to want to come visit our booth. And it's a chance to share what Rotary's about and just have a positive connection with the folks who show up for the parade.
And we have an outstanding canopy this year.
We do have a new canopy, which you'll first see at the 5K on Saturday. But yeah, so you won't be able to miss us. That's
Oh,
for sure.
It's in.
Armand, do you have anything to say about service?
I don't. I just want to remind people that are signed up for the canoe access area to, if you don't remember your date, let me know. I haven't put it on the website because I don't know how. And
Send it to Susan.
I think they call on Susan all the time. And benches, there's still some benches out there that haven't been adopted. So if you want to adopt a bench, that is on the website. You can sign on or send me an email.
Do we have a new chair for the service committee?
We do not yet. I am looking for a replacement chair for the service committee, if anyone is interested.
I nominate you, Cheryl.
And Barb, would you like to talk about you?
Yeah.
You're up.
Well, first of all, kudos to Elizabeth for finding 3 wonderful candidates for RILA. And hopefully they will be here this summer and we'll meet them and their parents. So we're looking forward to it. And Angela for finding our scholarship person. Now, the only question I have, excuse me, we have had no real good success reaching out to Mount Mansfield or any of the other schools outside of CVU. And if anybody has any suggestions, I've called them, I've been in touch, but in the past, we've worked very closely. Bill Gibb had been one of the guidance counselors there years ago, so we had a good connection with him and with Rocky, and that no longer exists. So again, any ideas I'm open to, but I would certainly, we have the money in the budget, we never get to spend it, right? And I think we only spent, what, 1,500 for the scholarship? So we had 3,000 set aside for scholarship. And for RILA, we usually took 1 from CBU, 1 from MSU, and then sometimes 2
Right.
from one school or the other and open. So we have to get the word out, and that may be whoever is manning the booth is to talk about the fact that we have these wonderful opportunities.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people realize that. The other thing is, I was working obviously with literacy. Somebody generously put $1,500 in my budget, which was more than I've had before. And I didn't realize that until recently when I contacted Jeannie and I said, oh my goodness. So I contacted the library because we had only spent like $500 this year. At least $100 goes to the mentoring program for their theme every year. And I usually meet with Becky or whoever, and we go through what the theme is. And then I put together a list of various books that may, meet the theme. And then she meets with the librarians and they choose, and I order the books. So we had 100 there, and we usually give the library between $300 and $500. And Greg usually takes some money, but Greg took no money this year. So to sum it up, we have $594.35 left in the budget. And the question is, what would the club like to do with it? Because it is on the line budget for literacy. And I can't make a decision about spending it.
But you must have an idea.
Well, initially I thought that we had these pocket
The
libraries.
little libraries, yeah.
And I don't know if we want to, as a Rotarians, continue something like that, I would like to open it up to the club for some ideas about how we can spread literacy. I thought too, many years ago, at this point, it must be like 8 or 10 years ago, there was a summer program at the elementary school, correct?
Mhm.
Is that still exist, Paul?
I don't know.
I don't either, and Greg and I haven't really talked too much. So, I thought of that. Armin,
Do we give anything to the Richmond Library?
no,
Or
I could call them, that's a good idea,
Yeah.
That's
a great idea.
yeah.
Is the bookmobile out there?
Yes.
Yeah, but when I contacted Bonnie Lloyd, she wanted, she ordered some more kits, that's what we are, I mean, a few years ago, we supported the
Yep.
bookmobile and
Yep.
so on. So I can contact and report back next week from both places.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for your information. I love Arlen's suggestion that we've talked a lot about getting Richmond people more interested in joining this.
I'll be happy.
Or
to
having
know
their
that,
own,
yeah.
I like that, but I don't understand, I don't know our rules or anything, budgeting rules. Can the money be rolled over?
I don't know, I'm turning to Sally, usually
To
not,
next
is
year.
that correct? You have to use it,
Don't see why it can't.
Well, it depends on Susan's budget. If it's in the budget, we have the ability to roll it into next year's budget. But it would have to be a conscious thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean, but it gives their committee more time to think about or have time where they might want to spend the money. That's all I'm.
okay, well, what I can do is at least contact Richmond Library and get back to you next week, see if they have anything on their wish list.
But also, I know that we gave things for Thanksgiving to the Richmond schools.
Oh, yeah, well,
And so we might want to touch bases with them.
well, one of the things we do every year is, and I haven't heard from the library, I have to call them again, is when they have books donated, they allow us to go through them and get at least 4 boxes of books, and then I usually redistribute them.
Elizabeth knows about that. Elizabeth?
Yeah.
You want to tell Barb?
That's, but she's from the library, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. But those books are free.
Do we do anything with the Richmond schools? That's what I'm saying. That's what.
Yeah, well, those books, the guidance counselor and the nurse have worked with us in terms of Thanksgiving. First it was the baskets, and then we've been giving them the coupons, the
Right.
gift certificates. So I'm sure that, and one year we wound up giving extra clothing, remember? So I'll certainly send out a notice and see if
Well, the
they,
schools must have a library too.
they do, but it's usually what happens with, when we work with scholastic books,
Right.
for every $150 of ordering books, we usually get several packets extra. And Greg has usually taken that on, so he's usually spent about $300 and then has gotten approximately $500 worth of books because of their bonuses. But this year didn't happen.
And there's nothing that says we can't roll the money into the next budget. So Susan's gonna be looking at her budget, and I'm sure that'll be a consideration.
Okay, well, I'll contact Sue and everyone else
Should
about.
probably check with Susan by August, and then you'll know how much money you have.
That is good.
Instead of
No, I
finding out in
will- I
June.
will- I will contact her once I touch base with the library today. Okay, thank you very much for your good
Thanks, Barbara,
suggestions.
for
Thank
all
you,
that you
Barb.
do. Yeah.
It's too much this year, you have to stay home.
Good to have you back. Yeah.
Take
Well,
care.
we're also glad that you delegated some of that work.
I'm glad to.
Yeah.
So I got a
Yes,
question,
Vince.
and it's more out of curiosity, and Barb can answer, or you can answer. I know that every meeting we give a donation for the speaker to the mentoring.
Program.
Yeah,
Does that not come out of the literacy, or does that come out of a different
that
group?
comes out of the speaker
That's-
bureaus.
That's a different line item.
Oh, it's different line items still in literacy?
No.
Oh, it's a whole different line item,
Yeah.
okay.
the president gets to choose where that goes.
Right.
In the olden days, we gave pens and cups and things, and then just came up with this idea of, as a gift to the speaker, and came up with this idea of having the gift be the donation, but it's coming out of the president's fund to
Gotcha.
pay for speakers.
Thank you.
But a good question to
The
ask.
president gets to pick every year what he or she wants to, what charity he or she wants to give that money to.
Right.
In the past, we've also done it with the food shelf, so.
Exactly.
Before I let Marty talk about the 5K, I need some hand raising. So for the registration for the 5K, I need about 10 people. For the finish line, Sherry needs upwards of 10. So you don't have to specify nor know exactly what you're asked to do. But I'm gonna ask people to raise their hands if they would be willing to help with registration. Okay, registration, let's start with that.
Can I sit? Is that okay to sit?
Oh, yeah. Sonia's already signed up and she's sitting.
Yeah, I'm sitting too.
And can you do? You could potentially do both.
Right.
There's gonna be people sitting, filling out.
You mean registration.
And
The winners coming in, but the other people coming in, we could do. both.
Well, some of the work of the two will overlap.
Right.
So the finish line people are doing something while the registration
Yeah.
people. Okay, hands back up for registration.
Can you go over the timing again? What's the time frame?
So I would like for registration, people to show up soon after 7 o'clock.
Hands went down.
We use this.
All I said was I'd like it. I didn't say you had to. Terry, what about you? What's timing for you?
Oh, 10, yeah. Yeah, everybody will sign up for my groups. We're gonna get there early to put the cones up, just to set, that doesn't take any time. But the race, the little people start at
At
8.
8, yeah.
They're gonna be coming through, so time 7:30. I mean, it does 7:30.
Okay. Hands back up for registration. I'm busy writing this out. Jude, Vince. Barb, Andy. Elizabeth, Phil, and Jeannie. Okay, thanks.
Jeannie, are you indicating 2 people?
Oh. Well, I wrote yours down, Chris, and Andrew, I didn't see your hand, so
Now,
now I have you. Yeah.
So Dave and I are gonna do the
Stuff the
start
bags.
and finish.
Okay,
We could probably do just one more person. When we're after setting hands for that.
okay. And that's at the finish, right?
Well, we'll be doing the starting and then we
I think
move
we're
over.
getting, I think we're getting mushed.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, finish line volunteers.
Did you get Ellie for registration?
I did. And Susan. Charlie and Dan. And me. Elizabeth, Rick. I got you.
Oh, and me.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
So Dan on Zoom, we're talking about the 5K race on July 1st. If you'd like to help either with registration of the finish line, send me a note, okay? Got it. And I would have spoken to Dave Erickson, but he disappeared. That's
There it is.
You're already signed up, Dave, to help Marty with the start and finish, so.
Question, will we be communicated to about where we need to be and?
Yeah, it's really informal. So, but yeah, it'll be pretty obvious,
Well,
but yes.
well,
we'll
needs to
definitely-
report.
Yeah, where's the report? I mean, I haven't done this. before.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you mean like we're in Williston, or the central school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
we'll
you'll
talk,
communicate out
Yeah.
with everybody
Yeah.
about where to be, when to be.
and
what
I'm
to
gonna
bring.
send,
Also be signs directing you in from Williston Road to the starting.
Okay.
and I will send all my registration volunteers emails. And Sally, that
Good
includes
question.
somebody that, me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, Deb,
Is that in your group?
sure, well, she's both,
Okay.
but yeah, we got you covered, I want to talk to you after.
Near here. Umbrella or something.
No, I'm gonna stay at the registration table. Oh, I don't have to. That's why I need everyone, I need somebody else.
Yeah, we'll get you a runner.
I think I'm gonna send you Dan Ferris's. Okay, okay. I get grumpy, so somebody. I know that, that's why I'm not. Yep, not me. Dan. Very nice to be last year when I was getting grumpy. You probably never wanted
You
to.
have every right. That was stress grunt.
It was definitely grumpy stress. So we'll bring candy. Somebody give her a candy. All right, Martin, you're on.
I don't have a whole lot to say. We had a really good meeting yesterday, discussed various and sundry details, which are pretty much coming together. Leslie and Armand, are you in charge of Champ?
Yeah.
Okay, so. we're
Well,
supposed-
I hope,
We don't know for sure.
I'm not gonna be the handler though, because we'll be at the water station,
Oh, right,
but I'm hoping that Champ will be there.
right. Okay, and we think the dog is gonna be there.
Yeah, I don't know who's doing Duke.
Yeah, that's an open question. Someone I thought had said that they were invited, but we don't know who invited them. Anyone here? All right, I will work with them. I'll confirm.
You have
directly
his
then.
email, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and we may need, I'm waiting to hear from Todd on my question about the tables.
Right.
We may possibly need a couple of small tables to help out at the registration area. I'll let folks know, and we still have another Thursday meeting or two before the event. We got 4 pies from Adams. They got to figure out how to give those out. We decided this.
Well,
We sort of.
we were leaning toward the idea
Oh,
of giving
right.
out 1 pie to the overall winner in the men's category, the women's category, so the
Kids.
fastest times, the kids. And if there's anybody in non-binary, the fastest non-binary person. So that would be based solely on
Be a good
time.
way to get a pie.
Right, or you can raffle off the last pie.
We could do that.
That's complicated.
Not necessarily, when people register,
I could eat it.
All the Rotarians will be. What's
My grandchildren are not gonna be here to win, so.
Guess you'll bring yourself.
You ever see me?
I think a whole bunch of Debbie's family, and not them.
Deb Beckett's.
Deb
Yeah,
Beckett's
that's
family would be here.
they are. Are they all staying at your house, Ellie?
In my 1-bedroom apartment, yeah.
It'll be interesting, I guess. I don't have a whole lot more. Bill, cash box,
Sure, I can.
bring it with you.
Yeah.
Put some cash in. it. Appearance's sake.
Thank God it's not your first rodeo, Phil. You got it.
That's-
Yay for the 5K.
Hasn't happened.
Oh, Marty, don't sit down.
It's over.
Come back here. Okay, y'all, if you have a ticket, get out your tickets.
Oh, wait a minute, I gotta get my ticket.
Andy,
Why don't you give it to me and I'll hold it.
Yeah, give it to Barbara so we can trust you.
Give me the pen. Your turn. Have a ticket.
Thank you.
Your odds.
I won when he handed me a ticket.
Yes.
Go get the ticket.
The ticket last 4 is 042.
Oh, very late.
Oh, Walter.
All right. Excellent.
Now you're on as sergeant at arms.
All right.
Yes, Andy.
Okay, changing my sergeant at arms costume.
Wait, Marty, wait a sec. Andy needs to talk about the float, apparently.
So on the fundraising committee, 2 months ago, we were desperate, dire straits, everything was collapsing. Thanks to an awesome fundraising committee and this club. The committee is a lot of hard workers, but special kudos to Sherry and Vince. But remember, this is not about 2 people or 3 people or 4 people. This is about every person in the club. We all wear every hat. We bring guests, we raise money, we do community service. That's why we're here. It's what we like to do. So The fundraising is ongoing all year, every year. People can donate at any time. And we've got the letters, we've got good stuff. So the chair of fundraising will cede his remaining time to the chair of the float committee. Hi. Thank you, fundraising committee. So the float's coming together great. Another awesome group of people. It's been, fun. It's been great. Here are the overall concepts for those of you that may have, missed a few details. The 4th is on Tuesday, I think.
Yes.
So we are gonna have, thanks to Chris Stewart, a tractor and a trailer. We are going to build, construct and paint, thanks to Chris Stewart and other people, a 5-foot tall giant rotary wheel. Thanks to help from Dan and Chris, and I don't want to leave people out, but because we've got great committees. Leslie and Armand and Elizabeth and Jerry and me and anybody else that I've missed. So the concepts are that we've come up with 10 themes that we do as service. We're gonna purchase professionally made signs, and we need 10 float, I'll call them sign bearers. We're asking the sign bearers to do something whimsical with their sign. There could be an appearance by the Easter Bunny as one of the things that we do in the community. So kind of 10 visuals, so when we come through the parade, we want people to go, wow. I didn't know anything about Rotary. They look like they're really engaged. They're really cool. They're having fun. And I want to be part of Rotary. So it's kind of a wow factor. We've still got some things to tie up, but I'm going to pass around getting to the chase. I'm going to pass around the list. There are 3 different signups for July 4th. You can sign up to be a sign carrier. Some of our themes include feeding assistance, senior holiday lunch, trail maintenance, handicap access, mentoring, youth scholarships, veterans, Easter parade, etc. So if you would like to be a sign carrier, sign up. Well, if we have too many people, that's great. Because the second category is you can just be a float walker. You don't have to have a sign. You can put on a yellow Rotary hat and just, walk around and do the royal wave, whatever works. So there'd be, and C, to Susan's point, we need booth people, and I heard the sign up was about 9:30. I assume once you do the setup, there's a little bit of a lull time because everybody's gonna be watching the parade. Then you would come back and the duties end, I think, around 1 o'clock, it sounded like.
1, and I mean, pack it up.
Yep. So sign up early and often. You can do multiple things. Thank you, everybody, for what you do. I'll start it here and we'll go around that way. You can sign up too, so just keep signing. Thank you. And float committee is going to meet after today, please.
Right. Deb, Sherry just reminded me, I gotta talk to you about something. So let's make some money. Who wants to start this off? Chris?
I'll start it off. I have a couple of happy bucks. I have a big project I've got going at home. I've got 21 photo albums and I'm slowly going through those, pitching all the duplicate photos, and we'll eventually digitize everything. But I came across this photo, which I'll explain it. It's Williston, Vermont, July 4th, 1985, and it's the Williston Parade. Back in 85, I had my husband, I had one son, he was a year old, and it's taken from Dr. Lampman's front yard. My parents were good friends with the Lampmans, and I thought, this is just really cool. And what I took was, I don't know if it's still called this, the Williston Weezers. They're not called the Williston Weezers any longer.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, but anyway, it was the band.
Yeah.
And they.
It's all the people in the town band who can't march.
Yeah. It was my first Williston parade back in 1985. Another, I'll give $2 just for this group. We're very engaged, very active, and it's just really great to be a member of this group.
We were,
Great to have you, Chris.
Thanks.
we were very lucky years ago to be in a beautiful part of France over Bastille Day, I guess, and this little town that we're in, we were visiting some friends. They had a town band, all of whom were heavy smokers. So they would gather
The
in the
weeds
village and they had this like fair thing. And they'd march up. And I was watching, it, they could hardly smooth. Thing, anyway, next up,
Can I collect the money for you, Mark?
oh, yes,
I can collect it for you, so
that's right.
okay,
I like to get it.
okay.
Stuart.
Chris, so I just said to Andrew and Gary overheard me, I was all confident last week we could do the wheel quickly. I had to order the plywood. The plywood's $300 for a 5x5 sheet, 3/4 of an inch thick. A year ago, that same plywood would have been about $125. And I had to get it ordered out of, where's the big Curtis lumber down in Boston Spa.
Oh, my.
So that's a sad find. It's coming today. I'm gonna have the wheel cut out. It's gonna look like that, only 5 feet diameter.
Wow.
And I'm not painting it, but I'll get it all cut out and sanded and it'll be perfect. I even came up with a way to mount it in the trailer. Then just a happy find for everybody here today. It's nice to be here.
Thank you, Chris, for your efforts in that.
I'm gonna, I do my own.
Oh, and I'm paying for the plywood.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, the budget doesn't really cover it.
So here's my happy find. August 21st, I think. I am taking 3 of my grandchildren to the Yankees Red Sox game at Yankee Stadium. By then, I'm not
Two
sure
of them
it's
are
gonna be in
Boston
last
fans.
place, honestly. Could be either team.
That's cool.
You get my $2 out. Next, Susan.
So first off, just appreciation for everybody here. We've got a super busy few weeks ahead of us, but all fun stuff. And I know it's a lot of effort and time from everybody and so great to see how willing and happy everybody is to take part. The thing is, tomorrow is my mother's 98th birthday. So that's a wonderful thing to celebrate. And then I also want to acknowledge Vince's mother's birthday was this week and she turned 88.
Happy birthday to your mom.
That means there's 10 years difference between two of you.
No, just the mother.
Troublemaker.
I see some money.
Yes,
I want to get it.
Okay. Happy fine. I'm about to find myself a little more time on my hands, which is great. This past year, I participated in this program called the Vermont Leadership Institute, and it's a few days a month, plus a lot of work outside of the sessions, learning about yourself, about leadership, and about systems, and then Vermont specific systems. So it's been an amazing program, but graduation was last weekend, so that's done. And then rec lacrosse finished last weekend with a win in our last game. So that was a great way to end the season.
And all the others,
What was that?
and how were all the other games?
First losses, but you know, ended on a high. So that was good. And then at the end of June, I'm wrapping up my part-time work with Howard Center, so I'll be down to just one job.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, more time for Rotary.
I predict, for those of us who knows, who will be around 20 years from now, I think this person's going to be a big time leader.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So,
You never
and,
win.
and actually, I need to throw another dollar in, that you mentioned sports. Our 16-year-old granddaughter is playing rugby. She's a state championship in Massachusetts, women's rugby. And she's sharpening her eye gouging skills.
It's just a joy to be with you in person. Great to see faces that I often see on Zoom in the flesh.
Thank you.
Oh, nice to have you here.
Judy.
Okay. Great. $1 is for this group. You know, it's really been kind of a rough number of years, I think, for everybody. And the division is so incredible that you can't miss it. But when we come here, they're always laughs, and now I have my hearing aids in, so I can hear the laughs and the jokes, but be careful what you're saying.
Before today, we just met the
Yeah. They told me that when they said, no, don't let them know you have a hearing aid now, because I might be saying things. Anyway. Second for Vince for the bulletin that he puts out. Between Vince and Susan, the publicity and the level of visibility, I think, is incredible. I can't believe how much it has expanded. So thank you to both of you, because I know you put a lot in. And last but not least, it's for Ellie. I can't imagine anybody being more proud of what you're doing than your mom. Yeah. And to have you here, and I look at the coursework that you took and what you have majored in and all, and I know that a lot of it came from your mom. So you may have lost by 1 vote, but you're far, oh, 3. Okay, 3, somebody here didn't vote. Anyway, but I know that she must be smiling on you, and so it's a real honor to have you as part of the club, and you're probably the youngest one in our club too, so she's up there smiling. So let's not screw up the 5K. It's to be an honor. It is also an honor of you, and I'm not running.
Ellie, you need to run it and win it.
Oh, there you go.
Vince has some money back there.
Yeah, so Susan already stole my thunder. Yes, my mom turned 88, had a great meal with her and spent some time. There's a comment on Jude. There's a bigger group in the PR committee. You may not see it more visible, Leslie, Debbie, Terry, Ellie. So it's like, it's a bigger group and everybody participates. So $2 is just for the fun and energy of that.
Right, that's what you tell it.
So I have at least a couple of dollars in the Ellie realm. First of all, $1 for Ellie's adult Ryla, which she just finished. And I agree with Jude. In Deb's stead, I will be enormously proud of Ellie. I, of course, can't fail to mention that the Red Sox beat the Yankees 2 out of 3. However, the Yankees are at Fenway this coming weekend, so I'm not gonna be overly proud.
I have no pride anymore.
Well, I'm
No
Red
judge.
Red Sox fan. What is pride? And then the rest of the money is for Susan's upcoming presidency. I'm not, Andy, counting the days and hours, but I will be happy to hand the gavel over to Susan.
You know, the Yankees, no judge, no hits, no runs. True. Right, Leslie?
That's right. You know,
No one knows.
oh boy, all about his
All
great
about his
toe.
His big toe.
Right, sure.
So I only have $2, but I was gonna say 3 things. The governor of Illinois, banning book bans. I was like,
Yeah.
that is just awesome. We had a robin's nest that was situated right on my chicken coop on the outside. So I saw it every time I was going into my chickens. 3 of the 4 robins survived, and they have now flown the coop. So quite literally flown the coop. So, and then the other thing is, I don't know how many of you know about this app, Merlin, from Cornell University. It's a bird identifying app. you talk about addicting. I don't walk outside now without my phone on and it identifies the birds by sound, and then you can eventually get out the binoculars and
We
find.
have a crazy cardinal who keeps hitting our window.
Oh,
Suicidal card.
oh, yeah. So if you're interested in bird watching, I highly recommend, the Merlin app.
Merlin,
Yeah, yep, Merlin, and it's, from Cornell University, and it's phenomenal. So just that.
Right, and Dan, I think you have a little money there.
Yeah, so I've been in Boston most of the last week, house sitting and dog sitting for my daughter. And I'll be back there this weekend and attend the Yankee game on Saturday. So you know, I've had a lot of time to spend in Boston. I really more deeply understand how much I dislike everything about Boston. That's a penalty right there.
Is that fair to all concerned?
I don't have any money because, you know,
I have-
you're holding the money. Martin hasn't said, but he is playing this Saturday night over at the Shelburne Vineyard, although it's supposed to be raining,
I
so
don't
it
know
may
if we're
be
gonna be playing
indoors.
that.
So check the weather, but if you wish to go, it would be what time are you supposed to be there?
6 to 8.
6 to 8. So if it's pouring, obviously they will get us
Pouring, I have to get another.
rain
probably.
date, but if not, come out and you'll hear some music.
Right,
Right.
what's that?
Does the union know that you're playing?
You know, it's not, the union, musicians union around here has no power whatsoever. I don't know if there's an active chapter. I used to be a member of 802 in New York.
I have a couple of dollars for the people that were used to seeing on Zoom. They're here this morning. Mr. Paul, good to see you. Barbara, wonderful to see you again. And Ellie, great to see you also. And the rest of my money goes to Andy for his efforts in fundraising. And then his efforts in the float, the parade. We kind of missed Andy a few years ago. He was very busy at work, I guess, and good to have him back, and he's paying it back. So, thank you.
Right, you know, we
So,
got caught speeding.
you
right
have to sign
there.
it. We're not-
Oh, really? I was he in my yard.
Right next to it. There was a Sunday through your thing.
That was another way to be visible. Yeah,
Elizabeth.
it's hard work.
I'm in 5 today for, thank you for letting me leave early all winter. And school's out, so Elena has a job, so that's why she's not here. But thank you for just welcoming her and letting us leave early, and happy summer.
thanks for sharing her with us.
Already.
Last weekend, our 6 grandchildren, which aged from 25 down to 17, spent the weekend at a camp in northern Vermont. And I guess they had a heck of a good time because they all came back with smiles on their faces. So it was great to have them get to know each other and to associate with each other. And this weekend, we're going to Rhode Island to celebrate and watch our youngest grandson graduate from high school. And that's the last of the graduations from high school, but next weekend, we're going again to Rhode Island to have a big party for all the graduations that we had this year because it's been an overload. And my last dollar is for the outgoing president, who has been so great, for the incoming president, who we have a great deal of forward-looking enthusiasm for, because she's been already a tremendous contributor to our club. And for all the other people who have stepped up to make this club do what it does. Isn't it amazing?
I have one more, Sherry just reminded me, when she was mentioning the governor of Illinois. So I missed that when it came out, but I do know that the same governor about a month ago signed a bill to ban paramilitary guns in Illinois, and which I think is important. I also know that one of our Williston representatives will probably be bringing something up in the legislature at some point in the near future on that issue.
Like that. And Martin, I would say one more thing in terms of literacy. We could set aside purchasing some of the banned books
Oh, yeah.
and put together. So I'll check that out.
Online, anybody online? Dave?
I just wanted to say I've got a happy find, and that is that my young wife and I are celebrating our 49th wedding anniversary today.
Right.
And the funny thing is that we got married. We were pretty young when we got married, but I work with do some volunteer work with someone who's actually younger than I am, and she was talking about having great grandchildren, and I said, "Wow." She wouldn't admit to me how old she was when she had her first. The other find is it's kind of a sad find. The reason I'm not in there today is that I contracted a contagious disease. It's not COVID. It's pink eye.
Oh.
I realized yesterday my wife forced me to go over to the urgent care over in St. Albans, which actually is a very good option for folks when you need something that's not emergency and you can't wait for a doctor's appointment. I walked right into the Northwestern medical facility over there, and within 10-15 minutes was in front of a physician's assistant and got my prescription for some drops. So it's nice to have those options these days, but that's why I stayed home today. Everybody have a great week.
Dave's my partner in crime at the finish line. By the way,
Oh yeah, one other thing. I wanted to. I will take partial credit for the Champlain periodontal donation, and I think Howard and I kind of double teamed them. I've spent a lot of money over there, so I dropped off a flyer, and Howard I think might have followed up. So I didn't remember that that's one that I had solicited.
If you're not aware, by the way, there's a very similar facility in Colchester that the medical center runs for non-critical medical type.
We have one in Williston now too.
Yeah, where is that? That's at Maple Tree Place?
No,
It's near the pub, what's that pub called, where?
it's near Panera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Near where?
Yeah, it's hard to describe. but-
First care.
Anyway, I think that's it. Got some money, good, all right.
Okay, everybody, 4 tables, 12 chairs and leftovers. Help yourselves.
Committee over here, please.